Of course, she felt something, but it felt unfair. It felt small comparatively. If your loved one or your husband has had some very serious issues brought before him. So when she engaged in her normal kind of banter of trying to poke at me and get me to react, I literally just got into bed. I remember the television was on, and I was reading, and I suppose Miss Heard was down in her area taking off her makeup and changing into sleep clothes, whatever, and she entered the bedroom while I was laying on my side of the bed, reading, and she was still rattling off all the wrongs I'd
Rattling off. Real fake tears.
done to her in that particular day, and how unreliable I am, and what a horrible person I was, and I did not engage verbally, nothing. I sat there or laid there reading my book, and when she didn't get a jump out of me or a jolt out of me, she got out of bed, she walked around the bed, she came to my side, and again, you've got a person who is throwing multiple shots at your face, at your head, at your neck, at anything she could hit. So I got up out of bed, and I grabbed her by the shoulders, and I sat her down on the bed. And I said, I'm leaving. Please don't get off the bed. Please don't follow me.
Stay.
Please don't try and stop me.
Stay.
I'm leaving.
Yeah.
And she got
Actresses
up
are good at that, huh?
off the bed, and she squared off at me in the doorway of our bedroom. And I said, what do you want to do? Hit me again? Would you like to hit me again? And I said, go ahead. Hit me. Bam.
Bam.
And then I just said, is that what you wanted? Would you like another? Bam. There's the second one. And I said, good, now you're done. Grabbed her by the shoulders, walked her to the bed, sat her down, and said, don't follow me. Leave me alone. I'm out. I'm gone. I went, I grabbed a few things, and I got out immediately, and I went to my other house on Sweetser. As Ms. Heard she was leaving the following day for Coachella, which is Coachella is like it's a big event, a concert, many bands, and yeah.
Thank you, Johnny, for explaining what Coachella is. She's just making herself look worse and worse by dragging on at all these accusations. Like, I want to support women, but she sounds like the worst. I think Johnny should have got out sooner, but he just kept trying to save her. Sucks to be him now, but at least he's coming out with this, and everyone is believing it. I agree because, this fucked his career up. And like we were talking about earlier, I talked about early on in the show where it's like, the Me Too movement was an important thing that happened because that needed to be highlighted. But then again, we overcorrected. And then all of a sudden we like, you got to believe all women, which I do agree with. Like, you got to, if someone is making an accusation, you got to take it seriously. But if you find the evidence that and it's not, inconclusive, or like you find out that it's not real, then there should be some kind of redemption. But there was cases, where people were being accused of things and that came out later, like Aziz Ansari. I read the article that girl wrote, and it just sounded like a bad date. Like, they were both consensual, and he lost his fucking show over it. And it's fucking crazy that Aziz Ansari, like, he got some like head. She didn't want to finish him off, and he kept on, come on, baby, come on, Aziz. And he lost his fucking show on Netflix for it, and that was a good show. I really like Master of None. But this dude lost the whole franchise of Pirates of the Caribbean. And, again, they're going to be releasing it as an all-female cast, which is like, whatever, cool. Okay. But it's not going to be the same. And they've been trying to do that stuff where they try to force feed, people these things. And that's why we weren't any more seasons of that show. That's why there were. Yes, exactly. There was no more. I like that show too. It was hilarious. Yeah, I loved it. I thought it was such a good show. Yeah, he lost his show because of the accusations. There was Chris. He did the Nerdist podcast. I can't remember his last name. He's a comedian, but he lost his podcast. He lost his whole company because some girl was making shit up about their bad relationship. It was this all because of a blue balled BJ. Yeah, for sure. Look. She's doing much better than Megan Thee Stallion, though. At least she's not wearing makeup, so therefore you can't tell how much she's actually how much her heart is actually in it. Have we not learned from Ghostbusters? That's what I was thinking of too, Samo. The last Ghostbusters that was an all-female cast, which, again, I don't want to shit talk on females being, having representation and all that good stuff. But it does seem like these Hollywood types are just sort of trying to capitalize on this movement. And, none of these fucking corporations care about women's rights. They don't give a shit about gay rights. They don't care about any of that shit. Like we said earlier, they're cutting out all the gay parts of Dumbledore in the new Harry Potter shows, movies that I can't remember the name of. They're cutting out that he's gay to serve a Chinese market. So if they really cared about gay rights in Hollywood, they wouldn't be cutting out the fact that Dumbledore is gay. They would definitely leave that in there. And the fact that they're doing that just for money, I mean, it tells you where their heart is. So these corporations, they put out the pride flag, they put up the BLMs, during February. They're going to capitalize on all this shit, and they don't give a fuck. These companies don't give a shit about any of this. They only care about the bottom line. And so what's the saying? Go woke, go broke. And that's sort of it's sort of what's happening. Some are saying that this huge dip in Netflix is attributed to their woke ideology. The whole idea that their content has to be woke and stuff. And I'm not against it. I'm not against woke content. It serves a crowd and people like it. But I feel like a lot of people feel like it's being force fed to them. And it's also, some people aren't trying to hear that. And I don't know, I'm not trying to convince anybody to watch it. I'm not trying to convince anybody not to watch it. But it feels like they're just sort of using these, marginalized, and I don't even like that word, marginalized groups of people to further their bank accounts, to grow their bank accounts. Just make a new story about women. Those work. Recreating old male-centric stories with women usually are flops. Yeah. So let me get this straight. We can believe in hobbits, dragons, and wizards, but being gay is where we're cutting the dark fantasy storyline. Only for the Chinese, though. Only for the Chinese. Here, I think they did leave it in. I'm not sure. But it's the same thing with, what was the Doctor Strange movie where They made the main character Tilda Swilden. Tilda Swilden, she was like the head monk. That was actually supposed to be a Tibetan monk. And because they were serving a Chinese audience, Swinton, thank you, Tilda Swinton, they changed that character who is originally in the comic book a Tibetan monk. They changed it because, China doesn't recognize Tibet. And they changed it to serve, they changed the character, I shouldn't say it, they changed the character to serve a Chinese audience. And it's just it's wild to me that they'll sit there and be fucking hypocrites. These fucking assholes in Hollywood are a bunch of fucking hypocrites who are they're using culture wars to profit. And they're only accentuating the division when they do this shit, man. It's fucking ridiculous. Trust me, I have tons of female scripts that I haven't even written yet. It's pretty freaking easy. What's that supposed to mean? Yes, get those scripts out there. Unfortunately, the gatekeeper Tyler Perry and the evil overlord Oprah Winfrey. I'm not interested in moving black stories forward. But I think black stories are great too, because representation is important. But I just think it's fucking bullshit and hypocritical when you have these people who are like, Black Lives Matter, Pride Week, or whatever, Pride Month, all this shit, when they would sell that ideal out in one deal, right? And they'll sell out their ideals just to make a few more $1 million in China. I think that's fucking bullshit, and I think that the hypocrisy is just outweighs what they're trying to do. What they're trying to do with their representation. I just think it's terrible. What's interesting is Tyler Perry in his last movie, he stuck up for the police in his last movie. What's her name? Medea. She sits down and she's talking about, that you guys would be calling the police if you needed them, and that's a pretty big line to cross within the black community. Where you're sticking up for the police, and it's also a lot of people want to shit on the police right now, but who are they calling? Who are you calling when shit goes down? You might have your own weapons. I have weapons around the house. But I'm going to call the police if shit gets out of hand, except for hurting Mexicans. I would do anything for those millions to be except hurting Mexicans or to herd Mexicans. There's a way too much would not fly in 2022. Coyote Ugly 2022. Let's go. There's a bunch of half-naked chicks dancing. Or it could be a half-naked man. May we have waiting to exhale and set it off, just sitting around, no reboot these classic African American movies or female cast too. Well, they're so fucking dim and they're so uncreative. I don't even know if uncreative is a word, honestly. There's such a lack of creativity that they have to sort of recycle these fucking old movies, these old classics, to try to milk them for more money. And it's ridiculous. And I agree with that. Samo. There's some classic movies that they'll just try to reboot. I love the original Ghostbusters. And it's like, sorry it was a bunch of dudes, but the original one was great. And this new one was so bad. It was so bad. 15 years ago, you could have asked, what is a woman? And got a completely different answer than what you would get today. Now that one is interesting, That one is interesting. It was interesting how the new Supreme Court Justice, is that who it was? What's her name? I don't want to mess up her name because I suck at that. See, I'm doing it already. Oh God, I'm such a dipshit. Supreme, what? No, not gun case. What is this? Such a dumbass. Ketanji Brown Jackson. Ketanji Brown Jackson, when they asked her what a woman was, she said that she didn't know. She didn't know because she wasn't a biologist. Like fucking, that's weird. That's weird to me, but I get what they're trying to do. And like I can see where they're coming from when they're trying to, because they're trying to normalize trans folks, right? They're trying to normalize this situation so they can be more accepted in our society. And so I don't see it as a horrible thing, but I do see it as like that just seemed a little much to me. But if this is what it takes, who knows? Don't be so hard on yourself, dude. I'm always hard on myself. I don't know doodly squat. Me neither, pizza man. I don't know doodly squat either. Sometimes you gotta lie. I don't interview for a job. She just had a bigger position to earn. Yeah, and she was relating to her base, right? She was moral grandstanding to her base. She wanted her team to know that she is woke and she is with it. But how many people went after her for having a white husband? Oh Lord. Yeah, and then on the same token, I shouldn't have said it like that. On the same note, how many people went after Clarence Thomas for having a white wife? Was there, yeah, there's just so much hypocrisy around it. There's no way he's a Tolkien. Thank you. He's a Tolkien, not Token. You really thought we would name our son Token? It's Tolkien. But yeah, to sit there, and say that in front of the world really was interesting. Was interesting. But again, I can see what's going on there. It is sort of moral grandstanding, but it is also trying to normalize things. And I don't think there's anything wrong with normalizing these things. Don't let Black Twitter know. Black Twitter is mad confused. Like, do we celebrate or do we hate? Listen, I'm all about Black Twitter too. I don't want some stranger teaching my son about certain things in regular schools, but if it's normalized and part of education, what can we really do about it? Yeah, well, there you go. Now I believe that should be up to the parents of that school district, what they want to do. 1948 racist policies in 2022. I get why y'all homeschool for. Yo, homeschooling is where it's at if you can do it. Honestly, it should be up to the parents of that district, right? I don't really have an opinion on it because I homeschool. I don't have any plans on sending my son back into that mess. But with this whole Florida don't say gay thing, if that's what the people vote for, that's what the people vote for. This is a fucking democracy. And I don't want any centralized government trying to tell everybody in every region of the country what they can and cannot do. There are state rights and then there's federal, right? And if people in Florida, people in Texas, this is how they voted, this is how they fucking voted. That's what's up. I'm all about the democracy of the situation. And if they don't want teachers talking to their kids about certain ideas, then that's what they voted for. And if in other places, if they want to vote for that to go into play, that's what they want. They want to do that. That's fine. It really is about our little communities that we live in that we can affect, because we're not affecting what Joe Byron is stumbling through up there. We can vote him out, I suppose, but who knows, But I really do think that local government is one of the most important things to a democracy. So if people want to vote that way, I'm all for it. If you want, and I was just saying to Robbie when he had him on, who am I to tell other parents what they can and cannot do with their children? If they want to turn their young boys into young girls, and that's what they want to do, I don't give a fuck. Do it. I don't give a shit. That has nothing to do with me and my family. And we've taken we've taken our own steps to make sure that our kid is getting the education we see fit. Yeah, I mean, I should start voting locally, but again, I don't know squat. Well, educate yourself, pizza man. Educate yourself. It's that's the biggest thing we can do is educate ourselves on what's going on around us, because that's what's up, you know. That's what's up. I certainly want to. I try to stay on top of it, or at least Raina helps me with that. Yo, if they that don't say gay thing is real in Florida, I might have to go to freaking Disney World and start lighting that shit up with the G word. G word. Well, nowhere in that bill does it actually say don't say gay. It's been blown way out of proportion. What if recycling? What the fuck is recycling music? Old wine in new bottles? Oh, moving Dutchman. Bob Dylan is re-releasing new. Bob Dylan is recording his old hits to re-release on with T-Bone Barnett. What the fuck is it? T-Bone. I can't believe I forgot his name already. I'm such a fucking burnout. T-Bone Burnett. Thank you. Jeez. So T-Bone Burnett is an American producer, and he's working with Bob Dylan right now to re-record his old hits and re-release them. So I just said that Bob Dylan is recycling his shit to give us worse versions of great songs. Yeah. Can't even do it. Yeah, so old wine bottles and new bottles. Exactly. Exactly, movie Dutchman. That's what it is. But yeah, I'm for all people doing what they want. I don't give a fuck. But I don't want some centralized government telling everybody what they can and cannot do. I definitely believe that everybody in their region, in their community should have a say, and that's where we make the most impact with our time and our energy. So that's what I'm for. Fuck a centralized, anything. I think that's why Bitcoin's so popular, right? Bob's voice ain't it anymore. Yeah, no, Bob's voice is terrible. I fucking can't stand it. I know you planned it. Oh, wait, I want to hear him say fecal matter.
Out in the desert, she and her friends were going to Coachella for the weekend, and that was it. That was it.
Mr. Depp, after April 21st, 2016, when was the next time that you actually saw Miss Heard in person?
I left Miss Heard, I left Penthouse 3. I left at 4:30 in the morning. It was actually her birthday. It was about 4:30 in the morning, April 22nd. And that's when I left. And
Taurus.
From that moment on, I did not see Ms. Heard until May 21st.
And why was that?
Earth Day. Is this it?
I had received some news that was as absurd
Is this
and
it?
grotesque
Is this it? This is it.
and cruel. And then I was shown a picture.
She knows exactly what's
What
coming.
the problem was, I had gone to Mr. Bett and said,
He's trying to be effective.
she's at Coachella. I think it's a good time to go downtown so that I can get some of my things, and get them out of there, especially the things that were precious to me, children things from friends.
No, he doesn't.
Brando, Hunter, Thompson, whatever, things that were important to me. And he said, I don't think now's a good time to go. And I thought, it's the perfect time. She's not going to be home for 2 days. And then he showed me a photograph on his telephone of
Objection, Your Honor. False news.
It's a photograph, Your Honor.
As being relayed to him by Mr. Bett.
He
I can't wait for this. Hold on.
says he looked at it on his phone.
I'll overrule the objection as the photograph.
What was the photograph of Mr. Depp?
it was a photograph of the bed, our bed, and on my side of the bed was human fecal matter. So I understood why it wasn't a good time to go down there. My initial response to that was, I laughed. It was so outside. It was so bizarre and so grotesque that I could only laugh. So I did not go down there that day.
Mr. Depp, how was your mother's health during this time?
Oh my God, that was so good. Oh, that was worth the wait. That was worth the wait. Oh yeah. So I don't know. I think we should believe all women until we don't, right? I mean, because who knows what's happening behind closed doors? Who knows what's happening behind those closed doors? So I think we should believe men, women, fucking thems and theys. Anybody who has any kind of accusations, do it. But, believe them until you have a reason not to. And I think that's the big thing that we should take away from all this is like, hey, yeah, look at her face. Should we see her face when he says it? Let's see her face when she says it. Thank you, Sabo. Bed poop is happening. Poop gate.
Side of the bed
What's on her face?
was human fecal matter.
Like a rock.
So I understood
Like a
why
rock.
it wasn't a good time to go down there.
Like a fucking rock, son. She's just stone cold and blinking. Oops. Her only tell is her eyes blinking. Hey, blinking. All right, one more time. One more time.
It was a photograph of the bed, our bed, and on my side of the bed was human fecal matter. So I understood why it wasn't a good time to go down there.
That's good. That's good stuff. And she just is sitting there, blinking, and she is doing it. She is doing it. Holy shit, guys. It's been 4 hours and 20 minutes. 4:20. We did it. My question is, what character did Johnny Depp react as? Jack Sparrow reacting, or was it Hunter S. Thompson reacting? Right, because he definitely has both of those in him at all times. Like both of the eccentricity of Jack Sparrow. So was Hunter S. Thompson. He was super eccentric, but she is thinking, there goes my millions. Yes, she is moving Dutchman. I understood why it wasn't a good idea to go down. I understood why it wasn't a good idea to go down there. There was shit in my bed. It was Willy Wonka. It was a chocolate bar. was a sweet and salty chocolate bar left on my side of the bed. He should have whipped out his scissor hands and done some chopping. Ah!